Hello, my name is Barry and welcome to Barry's Kitchen. Today we're going to do Water Kringler. It's a Danish-Norwegian pastry that it comes in two different layers, and it usually comes with a warning label because once you make this the first time for your family or friends, you're going to be forever labeled as having to bring this at the next family event. So make it cautiously. Hold the recipe close to your chest because it's really an awesome recipe, and what's even more interesting is it is so simple to make. The first part in it is the crust, and the crust is on the bottom layer of the pan. Real simple. All it takes is a little bit of butter, a little bit of flour, and a little bit of water. I'm going to make this in a one-size portion, and you can double this recipe so that you get more out of it. You can double it, triple it, whatever you want. This is just for one or two people. You need 1/4 stick of butter, you need 1/2 cup of flour, and you need about a teaspoon of cold water. And so the first thing you do, you take it and you put it all in a little mixing bowl, and mix it all together. And this is a lot like pie crust in the fact that you don't want to really beat this to death. You want it to get it so it mixes and sticks together. And there's my teaspoon of water. And so I want to use softened butter. So take the butter out the morning of or the night before you go ahead and do this. And the butter is going to be a little bit hard to incorporate in here, so you're going to have to mix it well. You might want to use a whisk to start out with and get it all together. Once you've gotten it together, it should be in a nice, neat little ball. If you have it so it's really loose and real sticky, you can throw it in the refrigerator for about a half hour or so to harden it up a little bit. But once I get all of this together, I'm going to take and put it on a cookie sheet, ungreased cookie sheet, and I'm going to take and I'm going to start spreading it out. And I'm going to use what I call my patented push and press technique. So I'm going to start with the ball on the pan, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to press it out into something that looks like this. All right, and when I get it into the shape, I just keep pushing and pressing, and you can see that it will go ahead and expand out into the shape that I want. And I want it in a nice little rectangular shape, and you can tell that it's sticking to the cookie sheet here. That's the first part of the recipe. The second part is almost as easy, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to heat 1/2 cup of water, another 1/4 stick of butter, and I'm going to take and I'm going to bring this up to boil so that the butter is melted and the water is boiling. When it gets to that point, I'm going to come back and then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1/2 cup of flour immediately. Take it off of the pan here, and then 1/2 cup of water, and then add 2 eggs, and then I should be able to add it to the rest of this recipe and throw it in the oven. I'll check back with you in just a second. Alright, we're back, and the water and the butter are bubbling here. The butter is almost melted through here. I have a whisk. I'm just going to whisk it in a little bit more to break up that butter a little bit more. But now we've got this thing boiling. The next part in the process is we're going to take it off the stove, add in my 1/2 cup of flour, and mix it together. And it's going to get a little pasty. Alright? So you can see here, it's nice and hot and gotten a little bit pasty. So the next step in the process is now to add the eggs. The eggs are a little bit difficult to add because they're a little bit, not slimy, but they're a little slick, and it's a little bit hard to incorporate them in to this mixture. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just one at a time. And you'll notice that I'm using a whisk to do that because a whisk breaks up the egg and incorporates it in a little bit easier than using a wooden spoon. But you want to be careful that you get it all in there and everything mixed together. So now it's taking on a little bit more of a smoother texture, you can see here, and also a little bit more yellow of a texture as well, or color. So I'm going to put in my second egg. Now just notice I left my burner on here. Don't want to do that, so I'm going to turn that off. And incorporate in the second egg. Now, when I've gotten to that point, I'm ready to add it on top of the crust that I did before. And this should be a nice, smooth, light yellow mixture. Okay, you can see like this. Right, nice and smooth and yellow. Okay, still pretty warm because it got all that boiling water and butter in there. But now that I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and take my whisk, move it away, and I'm going to bring back over. Remember what I did earlier, the crust. Put it on the cookie sheet. I'm going to now put that down. Use a spatula and spread this evenly over the crust. And there we go. Now, I'm going to take the spatula and spread it so it's nice and even over the edge of the crust. I'm not going to lap it over the sides, right up to the edge there. And you don't want this to be smooth on top. So whenever you get the opportunity, what I do is the kind of the pop method. I'm going to take the spatula and kind of pop it on top of this. Okay, so I got little nooks and crannies and little edges on it. And that'll really show up in the cooking process. So once I have it all in there, I'm going to use my little pop method. Get it in there. I've preheat my oven to 400 degrees. I'm going to take and put this in there for about 30 minutes. And when it comes back out, I'll show you how to put the topping on it. And what we're going to use in that case is some frosting. And we'll do some homemade butter frosting for you. So be right back after this cooks in 30 minutes. Welcome back. Now the Water Kringler just came out of the oven. And as you can see, it's a nice golden brown. I'm going to try and tip this up so it doesn't fall so you can see it. Here we go. And you can see, if you look up from the bottom here, that it's got that crusty pie crust layer, and then it's got the pastry on the top. And now what you can do, some people like it just plain like that, but a lot of people like it with a little bit of frosting on it. So I'm going to just do a quick butter frosting for you. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to take a little splash of vanilla. I'm going to take a little splash of milk. And I ran out of milk, so I'm going to go ahead and use half and half. And by a splash, half a teaspoon, something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and start adding in confectioner sugar. And you got to remember, the amount of frosting that you want is directly dependent on how much butter and how much milk and how much vanilla you put in there, because that confectioner sugar is going to suck up a lot of the liquid. So you'll probably end up putting in maybe 1.5 cups, 2 cups of powdered sugar to get the right consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up real quick. And as you can see, you want it to be the right frosting type of texture. And don't worry if you add in a little bit too much confectioner sugar, because you can always add in a little bit more milk or half and half to get to the right consistency. And as you can see, I've got about the right frosting consistency here. And so what I'm going to do is let this cool a little bit more and get a regular knife and take some of this off and spread it lightly over my Water Kringler. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut up my Water Kringler into different sections and pieces. And everybody will just absolutely be thrilled with it. It is an awesome, light, addictive pastry. So hope you enjoy it, and join us next time on Barry's Kitchen. Thank you very much.